What's up, motherfuckers? It's your boy Gorilla Mike. It is Wednesday, Hump Day, July 3rd, 2019. Getting ready for the 4th of July celebrations tomorrow. So let's get right to it. Some of the topics trending in the news sort of related to 4th of July. So first of all, big news. Salute to America. Trump's parade. So after visiting the G20 and palling it up with his boy Vladimir Putin and Mohammed bin Salman, the leader of Saudi Arabia, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, Putin, of course, and bin Salman, notorious dictators, notorious killers of their foes and rivals and press people that talk about them bad in the press and political dissidents. They a lot of that going on in Saudi Arabia and in Russia, right? So then he goes over and he flies over to North Korea, Kim Jong-un, the poster boy of modern day dictators, right? The template by which all dictators, the standard by which all dictators are measured in this modern day age, right? So Trump went over there, he shook his hand, went across the border, had a little gripped up, and then, came back to the States. I guess Putin and bin Salman and Kim whispered some sweet nothings in his ear and told him how to be the greatest dictator he can be. So he came back and he's having his military parade on the 4th of July tomorrow. So, this is the first military parade America has done, certainly on the 4th of July ever. But I can't recall the last time America had a military style parade. This is some Soviet Union stuff, right? This is some North Korean, Soviet Union, People's Republic of China shit, right? Third world dictator stuff, right? Anyway, so Trump is going to have his big parade. It's going to cost U.S. taxpayers close to $92 million. Upwards of $92 million. Just to give you an example of some of the money, where some of the money is coming from, he's going to divert $2.5 million from the National Park Service. So money that's supposed to go to protect the environment and protect national parks is going to go to pay for Trump's big birthday or Trump's big celebration, his big party, right? So Trump apparently he was demanding military tanks through the streets of the Capitol, right? But of course, he was advised that military tanks are a little bit heavy. They've got treads. They're going to rip up the asphalt and destroy the roads. So he conceded, and the military tanks wouldn't be there, but they're going to be on flatbeds, and they won't be moving. They'll be, sort of stationed around the Capitol or whatever. But he's going to get his bombers, his B-52s. They're going to fly over, and he's going to get his fighter jets, the new F-35s, and all those types. Traffic will be affected, severely affected in D.C. So if you've got stuff to do in D.C. tomorrow, you might as well forget about it. And then, of course, Reagan National Airport will have to shut down due to the flyovers as well as the fireworks that were moved. The location of the fireworks previously were another location that didn't affect Reagan International Airport. So Trump moved it, and Reagan National Airport was affected. So the flights will be shut down for that period of time. So you got traffic and you got flights into DC, in and out of DC are fucked, right? So good luck, Washington D.C. tomorrow. Enjoy your 4th of July. I hope you stay home, and I hope you don't head into the city. Anyway, so a lot of the political pundits out there, a lot of the channels are calling this it's not a 4th of July celebration, Mr. President. This is a political rally. This is a campaign rally, isn't it? And Trump is saying no, it's not a political rally. It's just to celebrate 4th of July. So here's some evidence to maybe suggest maybe his motives are a little bit different than just celebrating the great 4th of July and American independence. The RNC members, Republican National Committee members, and Trump campaign donors will have access to VIP tickets and access to a VIP area close to the stage, close where all the fireworks are going to be. Before, of course, the 4th of July was open to everyone on the mall, so there was no VIP areas. Everybody can go there with their family and enjoy the fireworks. But now Trump has moved it. He's going to be doing his address or his speech at the Lincoln Memorial. So there'll be a closed-off section only for VIPs, only for RNC members, and for Trump supporters. So I don't know about that. And of course, politicizing the Pentagon and the military. No president has ever involved himself in 4th of July affairs, right? Because they see it as politicizing something that's for the American people, right? So don't politicize the Pentagon. The Pentagon serves the American people. Don't politicize the military. The military serves the American people and the ideas of democracy and freedom. Don't politicize the 4th of July. The 4th of July is American independence, a celebration of, once again, democracy and freedom, right? And don't politicize the Washington D.C., the capital of America, which is another symbol of democracy and freedom, right? So Trump is politicizing these entities, the 4th of July, the nation's capital, the military, the Pentagon. Now it's about him. Now it's about those entities, those assets now becoming part of Trump's own re-election campaign, right? So we can't let that slip our collective consciousness or collective observation. We got to see what's happening here. We got to see through the lines and say, no, this is actually a Trump campaign that is being paid for 92 million by the American people, right? Just to stoke Trump's ego, right? It's going to be a traffic nightmare. It's going to affect taxpayers. It's going to shut down the airport. Why does America need this? There's an old saying America should remember: speak softly and carry a big stick. It was said by, I think, one of America's greatest presidents, President Theodore Roosevelt. So if you've got a big stick, you don't have to say a lot of words, man. You know you got the skills to pay the bills. You just step back and let the cowards and the fools do their thing, right? So Trump, that's not Trump's way. He's going to show you how he is. He's going to show you how big his dick is, and this is his show to Putin and Kim and China and everybody around the world. Hey, I got a bigger army than you. So boom. Related to the 4th of July festivities, another story that's in the news is that Nike just recalled a Betsy Ross flag shoe over Kaepernick's concerns, right? So the Nike Air Max 1 Quick Strike 4th of July, that's the name of it, it's a long name, was recalled by Nike over concerns by Colin Kaepernick over what the shoe was about. So the shoe featured the first American flag, which had 13 stars to commemorate the first 13 colonies, which after American independence was only 13 colonies, right? So Kaepernick's concerns was that the shoe depicted the flag at a time when there was colonialism and there was slavery, right? So a time when things were not so good for Native Americans and African Americans, right? So Kaepernick's concerned that people might be offended by this image of a time in American life or history where people were not equal per se, right? So Nike decided to recall it. Of course, the conservatives are in uproar. People. So there's two levels of offense I see, right? So Colin Kaepernick made the suggestion that people would be offended. I don't think the offense I think he magnified the offensive nature of the shoe a little bit too much. I think people would have, at least my perspective on the shoe, I think people would have seen it just as just as a tribute to American culture and history, right? Nitpicking the finer details of what it symbolizes, I think is a stretch, but of course people are going to do that, right? So on one side, I think that people would not have been offended as much as Kaepernick would suggested. On the other side, conservatives are offended by Nike's decision to recall the shoe, especially over Kaepernick's concerns, because they hate Kaepernick. The Republican governor of Arizona was so outraged, he's threatening to cancel plans for Nike to build a plant in the state of Arizona and bring jobs, etc. So that's totally ludicrous and bullshit. Like, why would you cancel a plan to bring in money and build the economy and give jobs to your people, right? Over some political disagreement with a corporation that made a corporate decision, right? So anyway, the governor of Arizona, Euro jackass, Gorilla Mike said so. Senator Ted Cruz also came out on Twitter and said that apparently Nike prefers people that don't like the American flag, which oversimplifies the issue. Nike's not saying that we hate the American flag. We're just saying that, our version of the American flag may be seen as offensive. I think what Nike should have done, they should have came out in the beginning and just had the modern American flag with 50 stars, right? That would have solved the problem easily, right? So by not doing the proper research and due diligence and allowing the shoe to get so far in the stage of development, actually the shoe was shipped out to retailers and then recalled. The shoe is now being sold for upwards of $2,500 by vendors who have to send the shoe back to Nike or keep the shoe. So it's a limited edition, so go out and get it if you can. So yeah, that's it, man. So people are, on one side, people would have been offended by the shoe. On the other side, people are offended by Nike's decision to call back the shoe. So it brings up some issues that are bigger issues in America. What is America's fascination with the flag? Why is the flag an ultimate benchmark for your patriotism, right? It's always the amount of flags you got in your house, or how many flags you got in your car, or how many flags you got in your t-shirt or in your hat or whatever, right? So America needs to quit this unhealthy obsession with the American flag. America's great. We know you're patriots. The American flag is not a symbol of everything that is patriotic about America, right? It's just one symbol of patriotism, right? Also brings up the idea of people being so offended in America. So you got two political extremes that are always offended, right? So one side does something, the other side gets offended. One side does something, the other side gets offended. So America needs to clean up their act, fix the problem of being so offended by each other, right? So that's basically about that issue. Was Kaepernick right? who knows? My feelings about Kaepernick is that I think he just arrived to the party. He's somebody who just got woke to certain social issues. I didn't agree initially with what he did kneeling. I thought it would have been a big problem. It became one. I sided with him because of the backlash that he got. He does have a right to have his freedom of speech. But I do believe that he's not, he's not the ultimate benchmark for what's going on in America in terms of racial tensions, right? So Nike, I think, paid a little bit too much stock in his opinion, and they should have also brought some other people in, right? So that's it. What's going on with Nike? And good luck to Nike and Kaepernick. And to those who got offended, don't be offended. So I'm going to introduce a new segment to my show. Now, every once in a while, there'll be some idiot out there that I want to talk about on my show, right? So usually I would call them a jackass, right? So they're jackasses. But I'm going to introduce a new word to you called a skunt, S-C-U-N-T. A skunt is from my country. It's Guyana. I'm from Guyana, South America, Caribbean. A skunt is really a jackass, right? So it's a combination of the words stupid cunt. So if you're a stupid cunt, you're a skunt. So my first skunt of the day is Kevin Durant, KD. So why is he a skunt? Because he leaves the Golden State Warriors. According to him, he felt that he was unappreciated, unwanted, taken for granted, and he was playing second fiddle to Steph Curry, right? So here's a guy that won 2 championships in 3 years, won 2 Finals MVPs. So he left Oklahoma, went to Golden State, had a great career at Golden State, right? Golden State is such a class act that now that he's leaving and going to the Nets, they retired his jersey. Even after playing only 3 years, winning 2 titles, they're retiring his jersey. No one will ever wear the number 35 at Golden State, right? So that's a class. They're saying, thank you, we appreciate you, we love you for what you did for us. Class act. So he's going to leave an organization that did that. He won titles with them. They retired his jersey only after 3 years. They gave him all the money that he asked for, right? He had great teammates, a great organization behind him. He left all that, a dream position. He left all that because he felt unwanted. And then he's going to go to a new situation with the Nets, has to rebuild his legacy after coming off a devastating injury, right? So in an uncertain situation, leaving something that's certain to enter a realm of uncertainty, to team up with a guy that's known to be volatile, known to be toxic, Kyrie Irving, right? So that's it for me in terms of calling Kevin Durant the skunt of the day, leaving Golden State, leaving a great situation, leaving for the reason he said he did, going to team up in an uncertain situation with Kyrie Irving, an uncertain entity. So KD, Kevin Durant, you're the skunt of the day, according to Gorilla Mike. So to end on a lighter note, an inspiring note, related to skunt of the day, I'm gonna like to create a segment called Hero of the Day, right? So instead of calling it hero, I like to call it, once again, going back to my home country, Guyana. If you're a special person or you did something good, we call you a star boy, right? So instead of saying hero, I'm gonna be naming a star boy of the day, right? So star boy comes from Indian movies, and Indian movies they were big in my country. So when the star of the movie is always called a star boy, he's the hero, right? So today's star boy is actually a star girl, right? So have you heard about this little Arctic fox in the Arctic who traveled 2,700 miles, who trekked 2,700 miles from Norway all the way over to Canada, crossing an expansive wilderness in search of food, shelter, and eventually getting to a place where she can raise some pups, right? So there's this 1-year-old or female Arctic fox that trekked 2,700 miles from Norway to Canada. It was the fastest rate of movement ever to be recorded for that species. She used that's the importance of conservation that I want to say about this story, is that she used sea ice to really get across open stretches of water. So she looked for sea ice, and that's how she was able to travel all the way from Norway to Canada. So that tells us the importance of global warming, how it's affecting these animals in the Arctic, in the Antarctic, and how they need sea ice and they need the presence of the ice cap to be able to survive and to continue, or if not, they will go extinct, right? Sadly, the tracker, we don't know what happened to her. Sadly, the tracker stopped tracking in February. We don't know, scientists don't know if it fell off or something happened to it. God forbid nothing happened to the fox or whatever, but we want to wish her a peaceful journey now that the tracker is off. I want to remind people how big of a skunt that Japan is for renewing their whale hunting. So we have animals like this little fox, less than a year old, started her great epic journey, and then you have big countries that are seeking to destroy the natural environment and kill animals, right? So while some of us are celebrating, this week, the 4th of July, and especially Americans, we're celebrating our fat ass, lazy, obese selves, and we're paying homage to our fat ass, lazy, obese, dear leader, President Trump. Let's take this chance to be inspired and reminded of the journey, the great journeys in life, the people or the things or the creatures that don't have it as good as we have it as humans, as Americans or whatever. And let this little Arctic fox, our star girl of the day, remind us that there's greater journeys out there, and there's things that we need to put in the context that our life and our journey is not as sort of important as we like to think of it when we put it in context and perspective, right? So I want to say kudos to that little fox. I hope there's a little fox inside of you, and it helps you get through this Wednesday and your hump day and getting ready for tomorrow, 4th of July. So I want to wish America a happy 4th of July. So thanks for watching. Don't forget, if you like this video, please hit subscribe, hit the bell, get all of my notifications for when I launch a new video. Check back daily for daily videos on what's trending in the news. And last but not least, if you don't like the video, I got some important advice for you. You can go fuck yourself. This is Gorilla Mike. It's your boy. I'm out.